Hello there. Today what I'm going to be showing you is the hairstyle that Anna in Frozen wears to the Coronation. I'll just give a spin and show you. Okay, so as usual, any comments, anything like that, feel free to tell me. I do take criticism quite well, and if you've got any suggestions or requests after this one, I am going to be doing the other Frozen hairstyles. But let's get started. Alright then, so for this hairstyle you will need something to brush your hair out with, a bendy roller like this one. If you can get one that matches your hair, that's even better, but we are going to completely cover it, so it's not essential. A ribbon, again this isn't essential, but it does appear in the film in her hair. She actually does use a green one, which suits my hair colour as well as hers, but if you have a different coloured ribbon it doesn't really matter. Some little clear elastics, I don't know if you can see them, and I've just got my pots of clips. I've got split pins like this, and the little grips where the ends are together like this. We will use both kinds, but whatever your preferred pin is, that's fine. The other thing that you'll need is a hairband to make the ponytail with. If you've got sectioning clips or something like that as well, that might be a bit useful. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to section our hair. Or rather, brush it out and then section it. Now, what's quite important with this hairstyle is to make sure that the sections don't cross over each other, because we're going to plait one of them. And we need to make sure that the other sections don't end up in that plait. But the first section is going to be the bottom one. So take care going from your temples, back a couple of inches, and then down, like so. Make sure it's even. And it doesn't need to be very high up on the back. This is going to form that little over bit. And just pull it to the side. And I'm going to put a hairband in to secure it, but if you have sectioning clips, or if you'd rather plait it out of the way or bun it out of the way, that's fine too. Now, the rest we're going to split into two. One to make the plait that goes across the top, and one to make the main body of the ponytail. Now, I'm going to turn around so you can see where I'm taking this hair from. If you make a high ponytail, just pull your hair over, and you'll be able to reach the underneath hair, which is what we're going to use to make the plait, okay? Now, I'm actually going to section this bit off, and then make the ponytail, and then plait. Because that way, the plait is going to be in the right place. And I'm going to take this hair, and I'm going to have the ponytail where I want it. So it's actually going to go down over the top of the section we've just taken. Don't worry about that. Won't affect it. So I'll turn around. You want a reasonably low ponytail, because otherwise your little uppy bit is going to pop out over the top of your head. If you want it to pop out over the top of your head, put the ponytail higher, and if like me you don't, then you need it mid to low, I would say. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clip this up out of the way so that it doesn't get into our plait. It doesn't matter what you use to do this, and it's not an essential part, so that's just out of the way. Now I've got this, which is my middle section. So I'm just going to brush it out. Now I'm going to plait this way, so I have secured the bottom section this way, because this is going to reduce the amount of this hair I accidentally get in the plait. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plait upwards. Now, if your hair is slightly shorter than mine and won't reach all the way around, like so, then what you need to do is to make two plaits. One to go that way and one to go this way, and then cross them over and tuck them under each other. Alternatively, you can get some kind of hairpiece or just a headband instead of using the plait. Now, she actually has a very large plait. My hair is not thick enough to do that. If you can always take a larger section. In fact, what you could do is section it so that it's just the front bit of your hair goes back into the ponytail. But I prefer to have a smaller plait. And she has a fringe and I don't. It's another difference. So if you have a fringe, leave it out. Alright. Now you need to start plaiting up. And unless your hair is very long, you're going to need to plait loosely. Because the tighter your plait is, the shorter it will end up. Now if you don't start plaiting up, you're going to end up with a lump. Just plait all the way to the end of your hair. If you have very long hair, what you can do is when you push it over, you can actually wrap it around the base of the ponytail. And my hair isn't long enough to do that. Alright. I'm securing this with a clear elastic. You don't have to have a clear elastic. You could leave it unsecured and just pin it. You could secure it with any hairband, it won't be seen. But I like these because it means I'm sure it's not going to come out. And if you freshly washed your hair, that's quite important because it's very light to slip. So this hairstyle, not so good on freshly washed hair. Now, slidey rips. Put one on one side. Theoretically, you could do this with one. You could just pin the end. But I like to pin both ends and the middle. And I don't like my plait quite as far forward as she has hers in the film. But if you want to put it right across the front of your head, that's absolutely fine. Now, the end needs to be tucked up so it's fixed above where this section is. So, yeah. And if, like me, you put the pin through the little hairband, that's the most secure way to get it. I might put another extra pin here, just to make sure this bit doesn't slip backwards. Now if you take the pin, put it in the wrong way, flip it over and weave, it's secure and it's not seen. Okay? Now, I'm going to leave this bit for now. We're going to do the loop. Now, this is where your roller comes in. These bendy rollers are better than a hair form for this because if you push them into the shape, like this one, they're going to stay. Now you could use a large bun form if you wanted to, but I don't think it looks quite as realistic to the film because she actually does have a little gap in the middle. Now, the gap I get is not quite as large as the one she gets. And if you wanted to, you could just twist this hair and position it. But it's a lot less secure than if you use this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the hair in two, and I'm going to wrap one around this way and one around this way. And I find that that gives the neatest result. If you have very long hair, again, or very thick hair, just wrapping one way with your whole hair might be enough. But mine, the ends aren't quite thick enough or long enough to fully cover it. So I'm going to do one way and one the other. So I'm going to turn around and I will show you that. I like to cross them over so that the left side goes over to the right and wraps around, and the right side goes over to the left and wraps around, but it's personal preference. Now I'm going to secure this end here with a hairband. You won't be able to do this on the second lot, but for this first side it's actually very useful because you're going to cover this up with the other bit of hair. Now, using the other half, wrapping the other way. And this I'm just going to pin with some slidey grips. Now make sure that you pin it to itself and not to your head at this point. And now we're going to put the ribbon in. Now you don't want it exactly halfway, you want it just off being halfway, because we're going to only wrap one way. So with the longer end you're going to wrap around. And now I'm just going to secure this where I want it on my head. This is where the combination of pins comes in. Alright, so I have fixed the loop to my head. Might put another pin in. It depends how secure you want it. And at this point is where you choose how high you want it as well. Leave these bits out and pull them around the front, and we're going to do this bit. Now, there are a couple of ways of doing this bit. What you could do is just pulling these out the way, put it over and tuck it in. I don't think this is particularly secure, so make a ponytail. I'm going to look rather silly. When you've got that where you want it, just plait the end. Now, you don't have to do this bit, but it adds a little level of security. Plaits do not come out as easily as wound up hair. And you don't even need to secure it. So we're just going to tuck it under, like you would a Gibson tuck. So take these ends, whether they're plaited or unplaited, wrap them up. And then just position the hair how you want it. Make sure all the ends of your plaits are covered, and then you have a couple of choices with the ribbons. You can either, if they're quite short, leave them, or you can do what I'm about to do and just tie them into a bow. This will also serve to, I'm just pinning the knot down, this will also serve to hide any loose ends or bits that aren't quite how you want them. Now I quite like the long ends. In the film she has long ends, but if you were doing an everyday look, you might want to either leave off the ribbon completely or tie it up so that it's got shorter ends so that they don't get in the way, because if you sit against something without having the ribbons forwards, what will happen is that when you move, the ribbons will catch and they'll pull, and you'll pull your bow out. Obviously you could pin the bow, you could tie a double knot, all kinds of things really. Okay, so I hope that you understood everything. Feel free to ask any questions or for clarifications, and show me if you do this hairstyle. Okay, happy styling!